One Senate bill has been filed that could change how research funds in the Commonwealth would be distributed. And a former teacher in the region is facing up to 30 years in prison after pleading guilty to child pornography charges.
Plus, rain continues into this weekend, and some could be heavy, timing out those showers as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Nearly 200 bills have been filed in the Kentucky Senate this legislative session. Senate Bill 1 is usually held for the presiding officer of the chamber. Yesterday, Senate President Robert Stivers introduced this year's Senate Bill 1. Jessica Umbro explains the bill, which President Stivers says would have Kentucky leading the way on research in post-secondary education.
In a speech on the House floor, Senate President Robert Stivers explained that Senate Bill 1 would incentivize Kentucky universities to collaborate on research projects that he says would propel the Commonwealth onto the national platform.
Why be competitors? Why not be collaborators?
Senate President Robert Stivers said in a Senate floor speech Thursday that his Senate Bill 1 would facilitate 5 endowed research funds to be used by 2 or more universities in the name of collaborative research efforts. The bill says one of the 5 projects would be the Kentucky Spinal Cord and Head Injury Research Trust. Senator Stivers noted the University of Kentucky's Markey Cancer Center as an example of Kentucky being highlighted on the national map.
If you want to equate it to Southeastern Conference football, it's the best league. We may not be Alabama, but we're sure in a league with MD Anderson, Sloan Kettering, Mayo, Cleveland Clinic now.
In a statement provided to WKYT, UK President Eli Capilouto said in part, quote, "If Kentucky is to be healthier, wealthier, and wiser in the future, our state needs to invest in research today that will be key to discoveries and solutions tomorrow." It's a sentiment Senator Stivers echoed in Frankfort.
But it is my attempt and plea that we change our focus and look to the future and think big and broad about the dynamics of research and all that it can do for this state.
Senate Bill 1 now sits in the committee stage, and while the number of Senate bills continues to stack up, state senators still have multiple weeks to continue filing those bills this legislative session. In Lexington, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Now, also introduced in the Senate yesterday by Senator Stivers was a Senate joint resolution that would direct the Council on Post-Secondary Education to conduct a feasibility study on transforming Hazard Community and Technical College into a 4-year residential university. Stivers says that would address a higher education gap in the southeastern part of the state. Now, that's been talked about for a long time, and it was a big part of our discussion on Issues and Answers this week with Dr. Jennifer Linden, HCTC president. You can see that if you missed it on our website, WYMT.com. Governor Andy Beshear is trying to drum up support for teacher raises. The governor met with educators and bus drivers at a school bus garage in Woodford County today. He says there's still time for lawmakers to include an 11% raise for teachers and school staff in this year's budget. The House version of the budget leaves the amount of raises up to each local school district.
We're having good conversations. I am encouraged by some of the meetings that we've had and the open dialogue. Certainly nothing's been agreed to or promised, but it's been a very open session.
The Senate will consider a budget, and if it is different from the House version, both sides will have to agree on a compromise version before it goes to the governor. We are learning more information about a former Rowan County coach's guilty plea. Andrew Zahiri pleaded guilty this week to a federal charge of producing child pornography. He could spend decades in prison. The Justice Department says he had a sexual relationship with a student and took pictures of the victim with his phone. A family is also suing Zahiri and school district leaders. We talked to the family's lawyer last year. He says the district spent more time protecting Zahiri than the victim. The superintendent would not comment on pending litigation. Zahiri could face 30 years in prison. Sentencing is set for May 14th.
Well, most of us are gloomy and dry on this Friday afternoon, but we are watching out for a few showers, especially over southern Kentucky into northern Tennessee as well. Let's take a live look at the radar, and as you can see, a few light to moderate showers in Bell County pushing into Claiborne County, also Lee County, Virginia, zooming into portions of Campbell and Claiborne County, and more spotty showers continue, and watching out for a few sprinkles in Pike County as well. And here is a live look from downtown Pikeville from the US 119, US 23 intersection, and again, we are cloudy and mild on this Friday. That current temperature up to 55 degrees over in Pike County, sitting at 57 for Irvin, also Prestonsburg up to 59 for Moorhead, and 53 over in London at this hour. So once again, we are well above average to close out the work week. Now we are watching out for this system over Kansas and Oklahoma, and that will continue pushing off to the east as we go into late Friday, also for your Super Bowl weekend. So as a result, more rain chances are on the way. So be sure to have that First Alert weather app as we are tracking some more widespread showers, and some of those could be heavy. Once we get through Monday and Tuesday, some cooler conditions also on the way. All those details plus your full 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thanks. Elkhorn City's food pantry is working to keep providing for people in need. Guiding Light Food Pantry hosts giveaways each week to the Elkhorn community, with several perishable item giveaways on the calendar. From milk and bread to produce and canned foods, the pantry partners with Elkhorn City Baptist Church to do 3 weekly giveaways at a central location. Pastor Tim Coleman says the pantry also does 2 larger giveaways every month at its pantry on Elkhorn Creek, hoping to continue meeting needs in the community.
A major need. I've done this for, we had a pantry for about 9 years, and it is almost tripled from where I was at when I moved here. And it was all of God. I mean, I was sent here for a reason, and I see why now.
The weekly giveaways are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. The larger giveaways take place on the 2nd and 4th week of every month. You can follow the schedule on the pantry's Facebook page. Coming up on First at 4, 4 astronauts now hold the record for the longest private space flight.
Plus, we are tracking a few showers this afternoon, but more are on the way for Super Bowl weekend. Those details after this break.